Welcome to the Gritty Podcast, folks. I am your host, Brian Call, and I'm joined today by Ryan Lampers, Stealthy Hunter. And how you doing, Ryan?
Yeah, doing great, Brian. Good morning.
Good morning. So it is midweek after we published your video with your daughter, and we're cranking away, Brent and I, on the the second video here.
Yeah, the big one.
And it's so cool to go through this footage afterward, to have it to treasure, because a lot of this stuff I forget about, and you must really forget about it because you weren't there. You don't know what I captured.
I don't even know what you're looking through the lens. So you're telling me about like holes that you're seeing in these deer after a fight or something that I never saw through my binos, but you're picking it up after the fact when you guys are editing. It's pretty cool. So there's a lot that it's gonna be new to me once I see the film for sure.
It's actually kind of embarrassing to go back and watch the film because you and I are like, is that the same deer? No, that's not. No, yes. Yeah, that's a totally different deer. And it's the same deer, but what people don't realize is, we're looking through binoculars,
right?
At a small dot. And when I get home with footage, and I'm looking through a camera lens with a little viewfinder, right? But when I get home and you put it on a big screen and it's 4K and you can blow these things up, and then you see the detail and you're like,
this is obvious.
It's totally obvious. You can see bucks, like, you're like, oh wait, that is the same. That's not the same deer. We said it was. That is the same deer. We thought it wasn't, and we get confused on. There was just so many bucks.
The reason we're getting that's just it. It's a good thing, because if we're confused by the fact that there's so many deer and bucks that we're looking at that are of same size and quality, that's a good place to be. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah. It's kind of funny though. Brent was watching it too, and there's quite a bit of banter and humor here between the family and stuff, and you and your daughter are peas in a pod on at least out there. She's a lot more extroverted than you.
She is, definitely. She's got her mama when it comes to communication and talking,
but her competitive edge, I think, comes from you.
Yep, I'll agree with that.
So it's going to be fun to release that video here this Sunday. You just launched your Western Hunting Summit, and it's going to, what is it? Day come? Yeah, tell me about it.
It's just we're launching it. Well, the pre-sale is getting launched on Saturday. This Saturday, January 9th, 10 a.m. We open up the passes for purchase at that point. So right now we're kind of talking about it, getting people hyped up for it. We've already opened it up for people to purchase passes to those who have been to a summit in the past. So we've had 4 prior summits, and anybody who has been one, they get those emails before the actual pre-launch, and they have the ability to go in and sign up and get the benefits of the pre-sale discount and the gear package and all that. So surprising, Brian, it's really cool because, when you put one of these things on, you don't know if, you're going to do the best that you can to make it enjoyable for everyone, but you don't know if people are going to actually want to come back to something like this. And what we found is people are literally, we've got guys going on 3 years in a row coming back to these events. And so that's really cool. I can't believe how many people from the past have already signed up for 2021s. So we must have done something right in the mix, and we just feel like we're going to keep getting it better. I know we got better last year. This year is going to be much, much better. Just we've got such a better setup. We've got great speakers. So January 9th at 10 o'clock, we're going to open it up, and guys can get on there and check it out a little bit more. There's going to be a lot more information that comes in on Saturday on the site. And then also, there's some benefits to purchasing it. We got a week's long of pre-sale availability. So it's the 9th through the 15th. And there's a price break. There's also a benefit to a pretty cool gear package. Peaks has decided to pitch in a couple things for those that decide they want in on the pre-sale. So for anybody who signs up at the pre-sale, they get some of those sweet gators we've been running, the Stormcastle gators. They also get a new set of the elite backcountry sticks, the trekking poles. So those will come with that package. And then Stone Glacier has chipped in as well. That bino harness I ran this last year, it's been great. I love that thing. Kurt Rasko, he developed it. It was like 4 years in the making or whatever. And it's a really good bino harness. And that's something that they chipped in too. So anybody who gets in on that pre-sale, they also get a bino harness to go with it. So yeah, it's cool to have these companies kind of pitch in and be a part of it. But no, this year's summit, it's different because in the past we've had these events, they kind of get split up a little bit. We've done a mountain hike, and then we tend to go back to, for the past 4, we go back to Cody Rich's place and we do this big barbecue there. And Birch Barrel comes in and they make a bunch of meat and all that kind of stuff. And then Dave Brinker's there and he's playing. This year, it's totally different. We're not going to be traveling from place to place. And then the Big Sky Archery, we're having everybody, if they fly in or if they travel here, if they pull in an RV, they just park it at the ranch. We've got this beautiful ranch that we secured last year up in the Shields Valley, like right at the base of the Crazies. And it is Montana in a nutshell. If you get to this ranch, it's got the Crazies in the background. It's really cool. They got a bunch of horses and stuff, and they run a few cattle out in a certain part of it. But great people. We got a big ranch house. It's super cool. Just a great layout for an event like this. And that's where we're all going to stay for 4 days. So when people show up, they either drive out there or they fly into Bose here, and then they get out there. They're there for all 4 days. We're going to be all camping together. And whether they stay in a tent or whether they stay in a camper RV, that's on them. But, we've got so many cool like activities planned this year versus in the past. Mm-hmm. In the past, we've always done a hike and we go up and we stay on the mountain and then we come off the next day. And that was really cool. And that was actually one of the favorite parts for me, because you got this mountain time with people and, you're able to like go through gear and everybody could chit chat, and we'd cook food on the mountain. And Mark Livesey would bring his llama. So we'd have this like really special meal, whatever. We're taking the overnighter camp out of the equation this year. We're going to spend all 4 days at the ranch, but we are still going to do some challenges. We're going to do some hikes, backpack races, things like that. And we're going to put a bigger emphasis on shooting. So we have Joel Turner coming in.
Oh, wow.
He's going to be there we've got 3 events that we're throwing this year. He's going to be there for all 3 of them. The first event is going to be a rifle specific event. So this is kind of all about rifle. So I have speakers coming in that's kind of their game. That's kind of their specialty. Mm-hmm. And they'll speak to those type hunts. And that becomes more of a, not just weapon, but more of a season, mm-hmm. It's more of a late season
strategies and so forth.
Mid-October, November, maybe a late season elk hunt. A lot of the rifle hunts that you and I have done. Mm-hmm. That's the first event. Now, Joel's coming in and he's going to work with guys on their shooting. I know there's a lot of people, you and I included, we know how good Joel is with a bow. Like he's good, really good. And he's a good teacher. And he's done shot IQ for, a long time, and he just makes people better shooters. What people might not know is how good he is with a rifle as well. I mean, the guy is incredible with what he does with his job and everything.
Or a handgun.
He's, it's hard to beat Joel when it comes to basically anything shooting, handgun, rifle, archery. Right. He's hard to beat. So I got him coming, and we'll have a rifle range set up out there. We can kind of walk people through if that's what they want to know, if they want to get better at, long range, all that kind of stuff. So he'll be there for that. And then during the archery events, the next 2, he'll be there working through his shot IQ process with everyone. And then we have a 3D course laid out. So, the 3D course will be somewhat for instruction, but it's also going to be for fun. We can all split up in groups and kind of go through it and compete with each other, which is always fun in those 3D shoots. So those are just some added things that we've done this year for the event. What's really cool though is that we're all going to be staying all 4 days together. So we're all going to be we are feeding everyone for all 4 days. They don't have to bring any food. We cover it. We'll have birch barrel out there, cooking on the grills. We're going to have probably 3-4 grills going pretty consistently and just cooking up good meals for them. We're going to do we're adding a few education pieces that we haven't had in the past, like backcountry medical, things like that. Stone Glacier is going to come in. They're going to put on a little thing for us, which will be pretty cool. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's going to be fun to watch. So yeah, great speakers. A lot of the same speakers that we've had in years past. For example, like Brian Barney, he's kind of a staple. There's not really a better representation of hunting out there than a guy like him. Always positive, great storyteller, great educator, and the guy's fit. I mean, and we can't have an event without having a trying to beat Brian Barney contest, because nobody's beat the guy, Brian.
Yeah.
Did you watch him shoot at all last year? I don't know if you were here for that, but
I did.
Yeah, he's insane. He hasn't lost a competition yet at the event. And I first saw him miss a shot last year. I think it was at 120, somewhere there in there. It took it out to 120 before he actually, and he's just barely low,
Yeah.
And then he just decided to back it up to 130, and he ran 5 shots, and all 5 shots were out, but they were all at the same level, all 4 inches low.
Yeah.
At 130. It was just a sight adjustment.
Yeah.
He's that good, and he's fun to shoot with. So he'll be there. We'll have those type contests, and another staple is Livesey. We love Mark. He's great. He's going to have the llamas out there for all the llama chatter. Anybody interested in llamas, he'll talk about that. He'll talk about the e-scouting course too, which has been a staple at these summits. He really goes deep into everything that you find in his course. So that's always a fun discussion. And then, just a variety of other speakers. We got Robbie Denning coming in this year. He's going to be at the middle event, which is kind of a rifle/archery event. Robbie's really good at the stories as well and educating. So he's a great addition. Brady Miller. He's for folks that follow Brady, guy's a stud, great mule deer hunter, great just all around hunter, and he's going to be there as well. So, and he's going to be at the initial event, the rifle event. But outside of that, I could go on and on about how many speakers we have, from the Travis Nowotnys to you name it. But we're going to continue to add more as this goes on. And yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be a great event. And, this year's events are all stacked in June. So June 10th through the 13th is the first event. The 17th through the 20th is the second. And then the 24th through the 27th is that third and final event. That's all archery. So,
Dude, it sounds pretty sweet. Why do you think you have people coming back? What do you think it is? Because they learned a lot the first time around. So why come back if you learned a lot about Western hunting and it completely changed? Why do it again?
I think a lot of it has to do with, these events are small, so we don't allow for a crud ton of people to show up. These things sell out, and it's great because we're all a tight knit group, so we can kind of make friendships. We can bounce questions off each other. So, I want the speakers to be there to be available to answer any and all questions from the attendees. So we make friendships with these guys, and we know their names, and it's not like this. It's not like there's 1,200 people out in the crowd. It's a small group. So I think that has a lot to do with it, is, for the folks that do show up, we do get to know these guys pretty well, and then and we just try to make it fun, man. It's not
Yeah.
just like sitting in a classroom learning. There's all these other things. There's for in the past, it's been that mountain hike, putting miles on and getting guys sweating up the hill and sitting on the hill and eating good food and chatting around the campfire and stuff like that. So, I don't want people to think this is just an education. Like it's not. It's supposed to be fun. It's getting
Community.
you here. It is. It's you really get to know these guys, like-minded folks, and you get to really kind of dive deep into the questions that they have, if they have any.
Mhm.
And honestly, some guys just want to come in for the experience, like hang out with a bunch of cool people and BS and shoot bows and hike and work out. We've got one of the events will have Dan Staten there, so he's going to be putting his elk shape workout, a little spin on the workout. He'll be speaking at the archery event as well. And then for the other events, we have Mountain Tough Fitness, who are right here in Bozeman. Some of the coolest guys you'll ever meet. Ara usually comes in and does a talk. And man, it's hard to beat those guys. They're going to put another workout together for us at the other two events. And it's kind of fun. There's going to be some shared suffering amongst the attendees that come in. And you did a workout last year, I remember. I sat that out, but you did it and Hill did it. And you guys all crushed it. I think your partner was Brian Barney, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was fun. He and I together. I think we won.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an elk shape workout, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was annoying. Like with Barney, we're running down the road because it's got a sprint at the beginning, and he's having this conversation with me. I can't breathe. He's like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, but then when we got to the burpees, I pulled my weight and we ended up, I think we were first finished. Yeah, pretty sure.
Yeah,
by pretty good margin. And then, but the run, you can definitely tell.
It really shows like what your strengths are and weaknesses, right? Because Brian is a runner. He runs every single day in the mountains. Mm-hmm. That's his forte. Now you're like CrossFit, burpees, and all those type, exercises are your game. So when it got to that, you crushed it. And Brian was sucking wind. And Brian, like, I've never seen, like, he literally, once those were done, he just like rolled over and was like gasping for air. So you guys crushed it. But
yeah, it was funny when we were sitting there and we had to, there was a partner work challenge, so the last thing you had to do were, you could trade off reps, right, earlier in the workout, but at the end, it was like you had to do 50 burpees synchronized.
Right.
Like, so I couldn't just blow them out and get them done and go. I had to wait for Brian to do it with me.
Yeah.
And we do 2 or 3 and he's like, I'm like, Brian, you get down. Let's do this. We're going to win. He's a fighter, but it's
for sure.
It's a whole different exercise. Then we run again. And of course I'm the dead weight there, and we get back and finish. But I do think that shared suffering builds friendships in a way that same thing on a hunt when you're like grinding in the dark and you're doing a night hike and you're getting out of there. It builds a bond that you don't get in other situations. Plus, you really see what people are made of, and whether they're positive in during those struggles, or whether they melt down or get angry or mean. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It's a really interesting thing.
Shared suffering is a thing for sure. And, I think back to train to hunt events, why we held on to those friendships so long amongst that community. It was just because of that. Like, everybody goes through the exact same thing. We're all sucking wind and we're all, elevated heart rate, and we're all like doing this thing that's really, really, really difficult, but we're all doing it and we all struggle. And in the end, you all respect each other that much more. And so that type of an event, that type of workout, I think it's valuable. The shared suffering thing you can't look past that. It's definitely a thing. So that's going to be a part of the event. We're going to have some workouts. morning runs. We're going to have more hikes, not long distance. What I don't want to do, and in the beginning, I think I kind of messed it up. Like I had this vision of, I want to do 15 miles with these guys today. I want to do 20 miles tomorrow off trail. Just want to make this the hardest thing ever, but can't do that really. You get the crowd that we get, it's a mixed bag. You have guys that come from the coast. You have guys that are used to elevation, maybe Colorado, guys from the Midwest, guys from the East Coast. Not everybody's at the same level. So usually what we'd end up seeing on these big hikes is there's a front group, middle group, back group. And the most important part was making sure that back group got to the destination. But then the front group is kind of having to do something else. So I would end up sending Barney to the front group, have him take those guys like an extra 5 miles to, keep them working. And by the time the back group got to the top, they'd struggle and would get there. But then that front group there's just separation. So, and there'd be guys that really struggled, had a lot of soreness and things like that. And I kind of need to get away from that as much as I want people to really feel the pain. I want it to be comfortable and everybody can just go at their pace. So we're not going to do so much of that, but we are going to have, these optional workouts for people if they really want to push it or if they don't.
Yeah. So makes sense. I mean, every year you're improving, you're seeing what works, what doesn't work, and you're improving the event. It's still a testament to the quality of the event that you have all these people sign up for their second, third, time to attend. That's pretty cool. I know I got to go last year, was present for part of the events on a couple of different weekends. And the people there are super cool. And it's interesting how they forge friendships and then they become hunting partners. And now they're doing it's hard to find someone who wants to go 20 miles, 10 miles deep into the backcountry with a backpack, kill something and pack it out with you. That list is short. People will ask me, well, why Ryan Lampers? Well, who else? There's not a big list of people who, do these things. Or why Brian Call? It's time off. A lot of guys only have so much, they can't just go hunting all the time. And then people willing to do the work. And
there's been a lot of guys that have partnered up and either gone on hunts. I mean, I've gone on hunts with people from the summit. I did a hunt this last year with a gentleman I met, Brock, at the very first summit. And Brock came in and, dude, the guy was an animal. He was like one of them ninja warrior guys, right? Just super fit. Yeah. And he crushed the workout. And I remember that workout was one with Mr. Staten there. It was a mountain tough workout and Dan was a part of it. And if you know Dan's very competitive. Yes. And Brock's like 6 foot something. And then Dan's not very tall, but he's, which lends well to like burpees and all these different types of exercises. And it got down to Brock and Dan, and it was like this square offer. It just kept going and going and going. And you got these exercises that are really, really tough, and they just blow out a tall guy. Burpees are a lot harder for a tall guy than a short guy. And Brock held his own, and finally Dan just got in Brock's face, like, how long are we going to do this? Because I'm not going to lose. And he finally took him in the end. But dude, Brock was an animal. So ended up going on a hunt with him this last year, an elk hunt. He got a bull, I got a bull, and it was a fun time. That's definitely a friendship. And that's kind of been the case with a lot of these things. I'm going on a hunt this next year with a gentleman who has been to multiple summits. We're gonna take on a hunt. So yeah, it is cool. And there have been friendships made that will probably be there forever. I know Mark Livesey, he's made tight relationships with a bunch of different guys from the summit as well. And these speakers and presenters that come in, they're usually pretty cool guys, and they got a lot of info and they got a lot of knowledge, and having a one-on-one communication with them at a summit usually lends to, after the summit, you still have, maybe you got their phone number, maybe it's just a good opportunity to go back and forth. And now it's like this open door to ask them more questions in the future now that you've had a connection with them. So I've seen a lot of that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the pre-sale is on Saturday?
Yep. This Saturday, January 9th, 10 a.m. it opens up. So,
Cool.
yeah, it's a week long, 9th through the 15th for the pre-sale. And after that, it goes to open, and we'll see how many spots are available after this pre-sale. I don't know. I've had so many folks reaching out, and we did have a few cancellations last year with COVID.
Mhm.
So we had to carve out some spots for those guys that weren't able to make it last year. We'll see them this year, fortunately. So, we'll see how many spots are left after the pre-sale. I don't know. No idea.
No idea.
But it's looking good.
We're probably going to be out hunting here around that time.
I know. My wife loves it when I take off during like a launch of something like this, right?
Well, Ryan, we have a job to do.
Yes.
We've got to go.
Important stuff.
Yeah. We got to go
mule deer to
chase
find.
some mule deer, some javelina, some coos deer, some jackrabbits.
Mystical magicals. Yeah, we got a lot of things to cover during that week. Yep.
Yeah, it's the annual Arizona trip.
Yep.
And
we should be just getting down there, I think, day after the launch or so this weekend. So, yep. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to this trip. We just got a big blanket of snow out here in Montana this morning. And last I looked, it was like in the mid 60s down there where we're heading. So
it's t-shirt weather, brother. T-shirt weather. It's a nice change of pace to get down there and get a little sunburn.
Definitely is. Yeah, for sure. I can't wait.
It's such a quiet, peaceful place.
Mm-hmm.
When you get down to Arizona and get out in the woods there, and it's just like, especially in that coos country, there's nothing. No traffic, but the forest, the place doesn't make noise.
No,
the desert doesn't make noise.
Yeah, I had a guy ask me a question yesterday. He asked like somewhere on social, he said something like, "Hey, where's the best hunting place you've ever been? Like, where's the most beautiful place you've ever been hunting?" Or something along those lines. And I was, trying to think like, geez, how do you answer that question? There's Colorado, Washington high country, Montana. Geez, there's so many places that are kind of at that level where it's hard to beat. And then I was thinking, man, Arizona though, it's unique. You don't think of the desert as like this gorgeous, picturesque, beautiful place. But it is. I mean, the sunsets down there are pretty hard to beat anywhere that I've seen. You kind of want to, you end up after a trip like that and you've taken way too many dang photos of the skyline. I know that. So it's just different. It's not this mountainous, alpine, snow-capped mountain beautiful, but there's something about it. It's cool. It is quiet. There's just so much landscape out there with no people. And a lot of animals to look at. So,
yeah, I look forward to that. We're going to be out, and we're releasing your daughter's video on Sunday.
Yep.
And on this is the big one where she kills her first buck.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait to watch this.
There's some proud dad moments on this one, I think.
Yeah. I bet. Again, I've talked about the comments on these videos, and there's a lot of dads on there, like getting choked up, or they've either already seen this process of taking your daughter out on their first hunt or your son, or they're thinking about it and getting ready to do the same thing. So I've gotten both sides. A lot of them are hitting me with, man, that just brings back all the memories of when I took my, son out for the first time, and then, or it's, geez, my daughter's only one, but I can't wait another 10 years and this is going to be on the menu. So it's a lot of that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. There's still more, like my cousin Ben, of course, this happens with Ben every time. Whenever I release a video, he wants to call me up and chew me out because it was a to be continued kind of episode. He's like, "Brian," what'd he say the other day? He's like, I can remember watching DuckTales as a kid, you know, after school when I got home, and it was when it was a to be continued episode. Nothing made me more angry. I'm like, dude, Ben, I'm
DuckTales.
only one dude. You know, I'm
Uh,
sorry I have childhood flashbacks, but
yeah.
I can only do so much in a week. In fact, we're probably going to see if we can get an intern
Hmm.
brought on board to help us get the content out faster. I would love for this to be a 1 hour episode that
Hmm.
just does it all at once and you can see the pack out and everything. But I only have so many hours in a week to do the edit along with all the things I'm doing in addition to that, all my other responsibilities. So I get it done. I get done just enough. I can squeak out one every Sunday and keep all the trains running on time everywhere else. Um, but
Wouldn't
you
it
and
be
I are,
nice though to get a little bit ahead? Like I know you're
yes,
working like you're burning the midnight oil even down to the last couple of days before a film comes out. And like you say, when ever there's like an other thing that comes up, it really puts a crimp in your schedule. So it would be nice to see you have one finished like a day before it's actually coming out, or more than like
for
five
sure.
hours.
Or exactly. And it would be nice if we had a backlog of 2 or 3 shows, which we've had in the past
Hmm.
when we start rolling out shows a season like every Sunday. But we didn't get the footage. We didn't get the permits, I should say, to let us run the footage we captured. So we ended up getting this stuff, and then there was no runtime. It was just either start releasing it or we just leave people. We don't release until much later, like next month. And I'm like, nah, we'll just crank hard each week and we'll just drop every Sunday. But we are getting ready to look for some interns. We'll make a little announcement here down the road and say, hey, if you want to get involved with Gritty, you're looking to, you have some skill behind a camera or as an editor. Um, hey, let's put in an
Pretty
application here and see what
pretty good
happens.
yeah, pretty good education for someone, I'm sure, to kind of learn some of what you're doing. I
Yeah,
see
for
that
sure.
being a lot of value to someone.
Um, so that'll be cool, but that means there's going to be a gap, Ryan,
Yep.
in Sunday releases.
Probably a 2 week gap, I guess, before the very last one to the series gets dropped.
Yeah, I hate
But
doing that. I hate it, but people will see her get her first deer
yeah.
and all that. But there's some cool pack out footage and there's some the next day, I was able to talk to Paley about the experience
Mm,
and get her feelings and thoughts on it because, you know, it's a really impactful moment in a lot of ways. And so to get her to like reflect on it and talk about it is really cool to hear what she was thinking or feeling, in
yeah.
retrospect. And I think that it's so cool because 10 years from now, 20 years from now, all of you guys will have that captured and you'll be able
Yep.
to look back on it and stuff. And um, yeah, it's really
Absolutely.
interesting. You have people say, you know, I don't want to take my kid out of school because they're going to miss too much school if they go on this hunt, and um, or we're really busy. And but when you look back on this, and when Paley looks back on 2020, for
Hmm.
example, there's going to be very few things that she will remember or that will change who she is, or maybe permanently, you know, make a mark on her life than something like this experience she had with you out in the wild in the wilds, with her first hunt.
Yeah.
Um,
Well said. Yeah. Yeah. 2020. What are you going to look back on, and how are you going to think about this year, or that year? Yeah, you're right. This is what she's going to think about. This is such a monumental, big, giant thing, and the best part is, Brian, is that we got it on film and we can go back and watch it. Like you said, till I'm way beyond my years and able to hunt, I can watch it when I'm an old man, and then she'll be able to see it and show her kids. And yeah, it's really cool that we were able to get it. Uh, I remember I remember when I was young, and school was of utmost importance to everyone. It should be, but my dad also saw that there's this other thing that brings some importance, and that's taking your kid out hunting, maybe making it into a 3 or 4 day weekend. And, it was kind of cool because we got creative with it and just said, okay, well, he's going to miss some school, but how about he does a paper on it? Like, how about I'm going to take him on a turkey hunt for, the next 4 days. How about he gives you a paper, little extra credit while he's gone? He's going to miss a couple, and then writes about everything he knows about turkeys, like wild turkeys.
Mm-hmm.
And so, or chucker or whatever. So that was kind of what I used to do. And so I'd still get to go hunting, and I'd miss a little bit of school, but I got way more out of the hunting trip than I did in those missing a day or two of school for sure. Those were all monumental trips for sure that I would always remember. So.
Right. I have plenty of school experiences that I do recall, but the most impactful experiences that I remember are the ones I had in the mountains.
Yeah.
There's some pretty wild things that happened. We hunted on horseback mostly when I was young. My uncle would go out. It was late season. We got ourselves into some pickles a few times, and we were in the bottom of Hell's Canyon in the middle of the snowstorms with multiple feet of snow, and just some things that really, you're freezing to death out there, and you're learning how to be tough and deal with that. And you don't get that in the classroom. You get a different kind of challenge, but you don't get that. And wrestling with horses that are packing out an elk that don't want to do what you're told, what they're supposed to do, and you're 14 trying to lead it up the mountain and not get stepped on, and it's straight up, and all those things, they build character in a way that the school experience does it differently. And
Yeah.
I think it's really important for a youth, for young people to experience both. The outdoors is a big one. And so mama wants the kids to not miss school. It's important. And I'm like,
Sure.
when I look back, I don't recall school as much as I recall those outdoor experiences that formed who I was.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's important that you carve out those times. And if you have to sacrifice a little bit of school, you need to.
I think there's a balance. There's a fine line. I mean, adding a couple days to a weekend trip is one thing. Obviously, you don't want to rip them out and where their grades are suffering or they're 2 weeks gone or something like that. But I think everybody's pretty understanding in the fact that a day or two here and there doesn't hurt them, but it helps them in the long run.
Yeah,
I know that's how it is at this school that I'm at. Maybe back in Washington, the teachers would have thought a little differently. They probably would have considered that child abuse for some sort. But here, most of the teachers here are also hunters. And in fact, it's funny, Paley was at school yesterday, and the principal came up in the middle of class, and he's like, it was a newer principal. He's like, is your name Paley? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, I just watched your film. He's like, I can't believe you're going to this school. This is my school. Three Forks is tiny. And and she got all embarrassed, of course. But he's like, man, I love those films. That was such a great film. I can't wait till next week. So those are the kind of teachers and administration here in this Three Forks school, which is awesome. They kind of understand that there's other things that are pretty dang important.
That's really neat.
Yeah.
Well, we should wrap this up. I know we were talking earlier that you're working on communicating better with the audience, and we've talked about social media and stuff, but we're looking at more direct communication, and you've been talking about improving your email list.
Yeah. I'm terrible at getting an email list. Hill and I both, we suck at this stuff. But, as these platforms change, you want to still be able to communicate some important things. And as we put these events on or with products, we have a very small email list, very small. And we don't send emails out very often, but every once in a while, something important comes up, like these summits. We've got information we want to get to people. So we're trying to grow the email list a little bit. So, again, I'm terrible at all those things, and so is my wife. But there's probably a way I should do it to where I can kind of grow that list. And, right now I'm just, with this pre-launch and everything, I'm trying to get people to go to westernhuntingsummit.com and just get on the list. And that way we can send all updates and, they know when a launch is coming, they get more info as far as the gear packages and the little discounts and things like that. So
Gotcha.
that's kind of a goal of ours in 21 is to try to grow that list.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad about emails as well. I'm pathetic, really. Or social media. I I do enjoy creating podcasts and film. I feel like it's long form communication of a sort. It's lasting, impactful, meaningful. But sometimes I feel like posting to social media or an email is I guess I can't put so much meaning into it. It's just a little snippet.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think for it is important to have, but it's not. It's always hard for me to really do it. And we don't mail. We've been trying to we put out a film on Sunday, so then we send out an email. We do that maybe once every third film because it's so in the back of the mind, and we don't capture emails well either. We haven't put forth the effort, and we really should, because there's not as good a way out there to get in direct contact with people who want to be in contact with you as email, because the algorithms on social and things, who knows who sees what you're posting or what you're telling people about, and so some of those social media platforms are even YouTube, they don't notify everyone that you have a new film out or anything like that. But if you want to have direct contact with an individual, with a company, that email list is pretty powerful. So it's something we both should focus on.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. And again, I bring up like these platforms. There's Facebooks, Instagrams. It's easy to communicate there, but I'm not 100% confident those are going to be there forever. I don't think they will be. And there's some wanky things going on. So still want to be able to communicate with everybody, even if those things do disappear.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And there's a lot of things going on nowadays right now with all those social media platforms where they can just take it away whenever they want,
Right.
You look at trends in some big city areas, like let's take California, for example, and, bear hunting gets banned and cougar hunting gets banned and different types of hunting get banned. And it doesn't make sense. You look at British Columbia and they ban bear hunting, grizzly bear hunting. It doesn't make sense scientifically from a resource perspective. Hunters know that. From a conservation perspective, it doesn't make sense. And sadly, rather than it being a resource and something for people to experience, these states end up spending millions and millions of dollars paying professional killers to go out and just trap all the bears or all the cougars, so they still die. It's just in a different way, and none of it makes sense. And you can see that a lot of times you have an ill-informed, uninformed public that makes a decision for the rest of the country when they don't live or experience that. When you have metropolitan cities making the decision for everyone in BC who lives with grizzly bears that you can no longer hunt grizzly bears, it's a bad thing. And I can see, if you'd ask me how people would feel about certain things 5 years ago, I wouldn't predict that things would change so quickly. And so I just hedge my bets looking at those past trends, that I don't want to put all my eggs in all my forms of communication in one basket, because at any time these platforms can say, we no longer support anyone who hunts bears at all. We think it's morally wrong. It's not scientifically based. It doesn't actually make sense from a moral standpoint. It doesn't make sense from a consumption, from a conservation standpoint. None of it makes sense. Yet people who are uninformed or who are that have that really have a emotional bias or something, they make the decision for everyone else, and you can see that trend happening. And if they ban it here, ban it there, it's to me it's a slippery slope. But it could only be a matter of time before on some platform they say, you know what, we're not going to give you a voice here and take you off. And same thing with firearms. We've seen that happen in recent years where so much firearm content is completely restricted or shut down entirely on certain platforms. And so I really feel like it's important that we do develop lines of communication that are spread across. That's one of the reasons we have been supporting Parler, like we talked before. But also these email lists are a good way to do that too. So westernhuntingsummit.com.
Yep. There's a little splash page there. You can go there. Yeah. Get on the list, get more updates, information and all that. And yeah, that'd help us out a lot.
Yeah, that's cool. I think if you go to briancall.com and you sign up for our email list, I think it's right there on the main page. You just click that and sign up there. Right. I can tell you this, you won't get a lot of emails. Maybe down the road.
From us either. I think, man, like 2 a month from us would be a big month.
Yeah. Same here.
We don't like building the emails, but we do see that there's probably some value there.
Yeah. I think most of the audience out there, the people following along, wouldn't mind getting more and maybe something to work on. But, one thing at a time.
That's right.
Right now, it's Paley's video. So
that's right.
I better get back to work. Folks, thanks for tuning in. And thanks for all the kind words and support. We are doing a giveaway right now for anyone who leaves a comment or likes and subscribes, likes the video or subscribes to the YouTube, our YouTube page on the video that's out right now of the first part of Paley's hunt. We're giving away some gators and poles, and then if you join us on Parler, we're giving away a Leupold rifle scope. And all you got to do is join us there, and then over there on we're giving away for sharing the video on your Instagram. We're giving away a Stealthy Hunter rifle cover. So, yeah, we're giving away a few things.
Make those mentions good and creative. There's a lot of them, and I kind of have to go through and pick out which one jumps out. So get creative on that.
Yeah, Ryan selects the Instagram winners each week, and I randomly kind of.
There's always some good ones. Guys do get creative, but it'd be cool to see more.
Yeah, we really appreciate everyone that's following along and supporting our content. It's really cool to have a community like this that joins in. So, folks, thanks for tuning in. Ryan, I'll see you in a few days.
Sounds
Stay good, friends. All righty. Bye.